Test. Welcome to yet another edition of Shock You to Your Core, where I will be addressing the fact that the sound that was presented from Credo Mutwa and what he had to share regarding the origins of men and women and the separation of the genders did not come through. So with your indulgence, my dear and esteemed viewer, I'm going to read the transcript of what Vasa Mazulu Baba Credo Mutwa had to say and redress that glaring omission of the sound quality. So just bear with me and I'll read that here shortly.
Shake you to your core.
All righty. And so, yes, this is from the interview with David Icke a few years ago. Of course, Vasama Zulu Baba Credo Mutwa passed away in 2000, I believe March of 2020, so not very long ago. And of course, Credo Mutwa is what's called a Sansusi, which is a holy man, Zulu diviner, or Sangoma, traditional healer. And as part of the initiation, Credo went through, he was entrusted with lots of ancient African knowledge, some of which is, you saw what I attempted to share when he was being interviewed. So anyway, I'm going to read the transcript of the relevant parts from the Mutwa, what Credo was telling David, so it comes across clearer. And as I pick up here with this shocking element, these shocking revelations, will kind of have some clarity with what was being presented. So I'm going to read the transcript that I was able to obtain from that interview. And these are quotes. I'm quoting Credo, Vasama Zulu Baba Credo Mutwa. So, and I quote, when the white men started destroying our village, when he started demonizing our gods, when he started ridiculing what we believed in, and actually using educated Africans to destroy that ancient African religion, in many parts of Africa, our ancient religion went underground. And there we called them secret societies all over South Africa and Central Africa and East Africa and West Africa, where this knowledge was stocked and kept by aging guardians, many of whom did not know that in other parts of the land, there were other guardians who were doing exactly as they were doing. Now, when I first became a Sangoma, I was already a person of education. I had entered school as a child of 14 years, and when I became a Sangoma, I was a youth of 16 years. And what my aunt and my grandfather, as well as my maternal grandmother, taught me shook me to the core of my soul. Shook me to the core of my soul. I found that the mission schools had been teaching me lies about my people all along. Missionaries had told us as children that the only light came to Africa with white people, that before the white men came, we black people had no idea about God. We had no belief in a life after death, and that our people were just a race of savages who used to lie around in the sun, womanize, fight, and drink beer every day. I was suddenly awakened to the fact that Africans had in fact been far greater intellectually than the missionaries were willing to give them credit for. That like the white men, we had astrology, astronomy, we had a surgeon. In fact, I found that Zulu surgeons in the early years of the 19th century and the 18th century and even beyond could perform operations which white surgeons were not capable of operating. And the more I learned about my people, the more I wanted to learn. And when my initiation under my aunt and grandfather had ended, I wanted to know more and more and more. And sometimes I had to pay a ghastly price in order to gain this knowledge. One of the most secret stories that was revealed to me is about these beings. This story was revealed to me first then in the country today called Rwanda. Then I learned about this story at the time on the foothills of Mount Kilimanjaro. This is the story, a story you find throughout Africa. And we go, continuing the quote. There was once a time when the blue sky was invisible, when the whole world was covered with mist, when you could not see the sun as it is now. You only saw it as a splash of white light moving slowly across the sky. At that time, there was an eternal drizzle every day of the year. At that time, people could not see the stars. People only saw the trees growing trees, which were very, very big. There was no desert at that time, only jungle everywhere you looked. At that time, people were what we call in Zulu Nugubili. A human being was both male and female in one body. And out of the sky one day came terrible objects. They were like gigantic balls made of huge gleaming gold. They were shaped like balls without seams, and they were bigger than the biggest mountains. They came out of the sky, bringing great noise, black smoke, and fire with them. And out of those huge objects came them. At that time, human beings could not speak. We had no gift of language at that time. And people had, however, great mental power. A man would go into the bush and, using the power of his mind, actually call out an animal which he wanted to hunt and kill for his children. And the animal would appear and kneel down before the man, and the man would kill the animal and take it home. But when the Chitari arrived, Chitari is the reptilians, the Anunnaki, the negative Anunnaki. When the Chitari arrived, they told our people that they were gods and that they were going to give us human beings great gifts on one condition. We had to worship them and accept them as our creators. Some had told our people that they were our elder brothers and that this earth had produced them generations ago. And they said they had come back to the green womb of their mother and that they were going to make us into gods. What they did, they created a very strange pair of caves in the land. They dug 2 caves. In one cave was a green light, and in the other cave was a red light. And they drove human beings into these caves. And each human being had to choose which cave the human being wanted to go into. And those who went into the green cave came out as women. And those who went into the red cave came out as men. And then the conquerors like Chitari, the Chitari told our people that now they were perfect. But the moment the first men saw the first women, a terrible rile erupted. The women hated the men because they looked between their legs and they saw what they thought were snakes dangling between the legs of the men. And the men hated the women because they looked on their chest and saw these big things. What they were, they did not know. And then the Chitari laughed because to them it was a very, very big joke. And then the Chitari said, if you serve us, you wretched human beings, we are going to make you into gods. And the human beings agreed to serve the Chitari. And the Chitari gave human beings a second gift, the gift of language. People started talking with their tongues where they had talked with their minds before. And there was a big rubbish starting again because this man did not know the language of that man. And when this man greeted that man, this man thought that he was being insulted. And so a lot of murder and homicide started taking place all over the world. When our people were given language, they found to their horror that they had lost much of their mental power. They had paid a terrible price. But the Chitari were now the masters of human beings. They made the human beings to go into holes in the ground and mine metal, gold, copper, tin, all kinds of metal that Chitari forced our people to mine. And the people were very unhappy because they couldn't cope with the new sexual differences which were there now between men and women. All right, so that kind of I believe redresses that kind of like the sound quality wasn't so good, and clarifies the story. So we have this tradition of this of these myth or stories handed down. And in this interview, David Icke, it's like a 3-hour interview, but there's all these synchronicities and sharing of knowledge matching up with what David Icke has found through all over the world, his travels and investigations. And this meeting with Credo Mutwa and David Icke, it was kind of by chance that they met, and that this verification of this knowledge had taken place. So anyway, with that being the context, I'm going to read here eventually from Hector Luis Bonilla, but I believe he's written this book under a pen name, Alex Blackbone or something like that. This the super gay book or whatever. But anyway, it talks about how humans were originally hermaphrodites at this point, and then the Anunnaki came and did their genetic tampering, and this along with the genetic tampering of the genders, there was the language separation. So it's just been nothing but a huge divide and conquer from the very get-go, and us gullible humans are immensely susceptible to this type of ego separation. But I can tell you damn well better transcend this ego separation if you want to get up into the 5th dimension. I'm just saying, if you want to get up on my level, you need to transcend the ladder of lights, activate all the ladder of lights, activate the crown chakra, uncoil the Kundalini serpent, blast out into the galactic chakra, and connect up into intelligent infinity. I'm just saying, get up on my level.
Namaste, namaskar.